Alright, hi guys, my name is Raina Runty. I am the ranch manager at Big Run Wolf Ranch, and with everything going on with the coronavirus, we know that a lot of people are unable to come to the ranch and get to enjoy the animals. So we decided to make these videos so that way you guys can still learn about our animals and get to see them up close. So with me today, this is Oscar, and he is our rescued opossum. He's going to be about 2 years old this spring. And he came to us from a couple that had found him. He was orphaned at a very young age, and he had already kind of had a pre-liking to people, so he really depends on people to be taking care of him and feed him. So we've had him ever since, and he's actually our very first opossum that we have ever had, and he's been a really great addition because there is just so much to know about opossums. So with that being said, he is an opossum. He is not a possum. Typically people get them confused, or they think that it's the same thing, you know, that you can just call it opossum a possum, when really it's two different animals. So he is the opossum. He comes from North America. Typically you'll see them east of the Rocky Mountains and then along the west coast as well. Whereas possum, they do look very different from opossums, and they only come from New Guinea and Australia. So that is the difference between an opossum and a possum. No, the O is not silent. They are an opossum and not a possum. And like I said, he's going to be about 2 years old this year. Opossums do not have a very long lifespan. In the wild, they are lucky to get to maybe 1 year, 2 at the most. Unfortunately, as most of us know, they are not very good at crossing the road, and obviously other predators and disease and things like that. Now, in captivity, they still don't live very long. You're lucky to get maybe 4 or 5 years out of an opossum in captivity. Obviously, they're going to kind of double their lifespan with vet care and being well fed and everything, but still a very short lifespan. Now, I don't know why it is exactly that they have a short lifespan, but my theory is that the winters are just much too hard on them. It's very harsh. They can actually get frostbite on their ears, on their paws, and on their tail, the parts where they don't have any hair. And the winter can, when it gets really cold, they can actually get like respiratory issues. So when winter shows up here at the ranch, he actually has to come inside. He has an indoor enclosure, and that's where he stays. And then in spring and summer, when it's going to be nice outside, we actually have an outdoor kennel for him that he can stay in. And but whatever they're doing, it must be working for them, because this is an animal that has been around for 65 million years. So whatever they're doing, it is working just fine for them. Now, he is an omnivore, and an omnivore is an animal that eats both plant matter and meat. So out in the wild, they're normally eating lots of veggies and fruits that they come by, leafy greens, nuts, stuff like that. But they also will eat a lot of bugs. Now, this is something that they do to help us out. These guys significantly help with tick control. They really help bring down tick numbers from getting too high. And with all the ticks that these guys eat, which in one season it's estimated one opossum can eat 6,000 ticks. So, with all the ticks that they eat, they actually cannot contract Lyme disease. And as we know, if a tick bites us, that's how we can get Lyme disease. But with all the ticks that they're eating, they cannot contract it. And that's actually part of the reason is because their body temperature is too low. So since they have a body temp of around 95 to 97, they can't get Lyme disease, and they actually typically cannot get rabies as well. So that's another little interesting fact about these guys. Now, if you guys take a look at some of his physical features, he has a very long snout, meaning he has a very good sense of smell. This is an animal, they have the little black beady eyes, which means they do not see very well. So he really depends on his sense of smell to help guide him and help find his food. And then also, if you guys see, he has these real cute little paws. They almost look like little human hands. His back paws actually have something called an opposable hallux, which is a clawless big toe and is essentially a thumb. So he uses that to get good grips on the branches whenever he's walking around on the trees. And probably his most notable feature that not a lot of people like is the long rat-like tail. Now, it's a prehensile tail, meaning that he can actually wrap it around things. Now, a lot of people think that opossums will hang from their tail and that they sleep upside down. That is a myth. Look how fat he is, guys. There is no way that tail is going to be able to support his body weight for a long period of time. So they usually, sometimes you'll see small opossums, baby opossums, who if they fall from a tree, they kind of correct themselves with their tail, but they're not going to stay in that position very long. So typically what they are using their tail for is actually like a fifth hand. So they'll actually gather things like sticks and leaves and twigs, things like that, wrap their tail around it very tightly, hold it very close to their body, and then they'll walk around until they want to place it somewhere, and they just kind of release it from their tail. Now Oscar, he does this a little differently. Oscar here at the ranch is very spoiled, and he has a big bed, and he has lots of blankets that he can sleep with. So he takes his tail, he wraps it around his blankie, and he walks around with his blankie. So, and let's see, what else? Now the word opossum comes from the Algonquin word apossum, which means white animal. So you can see he has this beautiful white coat. Some opossums will be more white, some are more gray, some even have a little bit more of a dark black to them. Kind of just depends on their genetics. They'll look a little different from one another. And we definitely have them all over their place. We do not have any shortage of opossums. They actually will breed twice a year, and they can have anywhere from 8 to 20 of these little babies. So like I said, no shortage of opossums. They are not threatened whatsoever. We have plenty of them everywhere. And so I'm sure we have all heard of the term playing possum or playing opossum, if we're going to be technical. And this is something they do. It's where they play dead, and it's pretty much an automatic response. They really don't have any control over it. So when they feel they are in danger, when they feel their life is threatened, it's an automatic response where they will fall to their side, they shallow their breathing, try to make it look as if they're not breathing. They open up their mouth, they show all 50 very sharp teeth, and then they drool, and then they emit a very foul odor coming from their butt, which really sells the act, and they play dead. And they'll stay like that anywhere from 5 minutes to 5 or 6 hours, just to make sure that the predator is gone and that they can safely get away in the opposite direction the predator was going. Yep. Okay, so I think that covers everything with our opossum. Like I said, his name is Oscar, and we are hoping to have our Family Day open house this April. It'll be April 25th, as long as everything allows us to still have the open house. And we will have Oscar out for everybody to meet, along with all of our smaller animals, and we will be bringing out one of our wolves to talk about with all you guys. Okay.